Stocks see a broad-based bounce with advances significantly outstripping the declines. Utilities, industrials and financials are prominent gainers, even as metals and IT stocks are the big drags.
Tata Motors arm JLR reports a 10% decline in wholesale during quarter gone by following the disruption in aluminum supplies. The company expects pickup in the second half, but analysts see challenges in China. The stock slips.
China's top economic planner in today's press meet only announces early use of bond money on projects, disappointing watchers who expected stimulus measures to boost consumption and research. Metal stocks bear the brunt.
Ola Electric has been served a show cause notice by the Central Consumer Protection Authority from seeking a response in 15 days in the filing customer complaints. The EV maker has been facing customer ire on the poor service and problems with refunds.
And the BJP leads in Haryana in a surprise development given expectations of an anti-incumbency wave, but Jammu and Kashmir seems headed for an India alliance win. Good afternoon, you're watching Business Lunch here on CNBC-TV18. I'm Hormas Fatakia and Vinny Motiwala is with me. Vinny, good afternoon. As of now, it looks like a screen that would give you some bit of relief.
Let's not just jinx it today, right? Like we've been talking about that red coming in on the top of our screens every day, but today at least some bit of a respite. I'm happy to see that green color, though it's following the trend of Navratri. A day later, let's not hope that red color comes back tomorrow. But as of now, today, a good afternoon so far.
Yes, indeed, it's a good afternoon. And the Nifty too reflecting that good afternoon. The benchmark index seeing a bit of a rebound after a 6-day losing streak. Slightly off the highs of the day, but still holding on to gains of 0.5%, 120 points higher on the index. Above that mark of 24,900 is where the Nifty is. The Nifty Bank will be the index to watch out for because it's the financial services weekly expiry today. So that will keep the index in focus. For now, 570 points higher above the mark of 51,000, which is a very important level to watch out for the Nifty Bank. 1.25% on the Nifty Bank as well. The only sectoral index, though, that is not having a very good day, barring IT, is the metal space, and that is the top sectoral loser in today's trading session after some underwhelming stimulus that came in from China. Underwhelming announcements, actually. There was no stimulus measures announced per se, and it's showing up in the stock prices as well. JSW Steel, Tata Steel is the top loser on the Nifty in today's session. NMDC is the other major laggard. I have recovered from the lows of the day. At one point, NMDC and Nalco both were down around 7%. Nalco has recovered most of those losses, but NMDC is seeing still losses of around 5%. So barring metals and IT, it's a pretty good day for the markets so far.
So far, so good. Let's not complain about the broader markets as well, because that's quite interesting today. We're seeing an outperformance that's coming on the broader market front as well. Nifty mid-cap, small-cap holding on to gains of more than 1.3% both. So interesting to watch out there. Some of the individual names that I will be picking out and highlighting. PFC, REC, let's pull that up. We have a bullish note that's coming from Motilal Oswal initiating coverage, buy rating, keeping an eye on both these stocks, trading with gains of almost more than 4% as of now. Auto sector, we have M&M as well as Tata Motors, both these stock in focus. M&M is buzzing in trade. We have CLSA that has upgraded the stock. Positive target price also in terms of a move that's expected there. SUV is expected to do well, and that is why M&M is in focus. Tata Motors too is another stock, but a different story coming in for this one because it's seeing a bit of a pressure today. At one point of time, it was down more than 2%. As of now, holding on, recovered from the day's lowest point. Tata Motors, JLR or wholesale numbers, which have seen a bit of a weakness, so that is what is keeping the stock in pressure. Skipper on the back of a bullish note from Nuvama, so keeping an eye on Skipper, holding on to gains of 12%. Trent also buzzing in trade, and other than that, we do have top gainers like Paytm, Varun Beverages, Dixon, RVNL, all of them holding on to very, very strong gains. These are the top gainers in the Nifty 500. So yes, watching out for that. And almost not a bad day so far.
Not a bad day so far indeed. But the bigger focus in today's session has been the state election results, and the BJP has taken the lead over the Congress in a seesaw battle in Haryana. Parikshit is joining in with more details on that. Parikshit, how the tables have turned within a matter of minutes.
Well, it's been a blockbuster of an election, so to say, and it's really going down to the wire. Let's start with Jammu and Kashmir, which has seen an historic election, the first election in 10 years, the first after the abrogation of Article 370 in 2019. And this is where the numbers stack up. The Congress and the National Conference together in the driver's seat, comfortably off the halfway mark. They are at 51. They've gained all across Kashmir Valley. The BJP at 30. A bad performance for the Jammu and Kashmir PDP. Iltija Mufti, the daughter of Mahbooba Mufti, has already conceded defeat. What we are seeing across Jammu and Kashmir is that the National Conference and the Congress, they have done well in the Muslim-dominated areas, largely in the Kashmir Valley. In Jammu, the BJP has managed to retain its base, but there have been losses for the BJP as well. So in Jammu, the BJP remains a gainer. In Kashmir Valley, the Congress and National Conference have gained and gained big as well. The Jammu and Kashmir PDP falling. Good news for Omar Abdullah. He's won from both Budgam and Gandarbal. Ghulam Ahmad Mir of the Congress party in the driver's seat as well. Tariq Kara of the Congress leading too. So the Congress looking and the National Conference looking quite confident and strong in Jammu and Kashmir. Now let's move over to Haryana, where not such good news for the Congress party. They had been fighting quite hard. In fact, there was an internal battle within the Congress between Bhupinder Hooda and Kumari Shailja. Kumari Shailja wanted to fight this election. She wanted to be the campaign face, the chief ministerial face, but this was not agreeable to the Hooda camp. There was infighting, and it seems to be reflecting on the numbers. The BJP winning 48, the Congress 37, the INLD to the JGP, which had broken away from the BJP. This party is not winning any seats at this juncture. Now, if we look at our analysis of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections in Haryana, it seems that wherever the BJP had done well in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, they have managed to consolidate those leads and win those seats in the assembly election as well. So Naib Singh Saini, for example, the chief minister of the BJP in Haryana, he continues to be in the driver's seat, continues to be winning. Bhupinder Singh Hooda of the Congress party is winning right now. Also, Aditya Surjewala is winning from Kaithal. So not good news for the Congress party. The BJP on record, on track to win a third term, a consecutive third term in Haryana.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Parikshit, on the latest updates coming in from Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana's election results. But let's move on, and the RBI monetary policy, that's underway. The committee is meeting, and tomorrow we'll be watching out for the final decisions coming in. But CNBC-TV18 poll, that shows that the street is expecting no change in rates, but a small chance that we could be seeing a shift in terms of the stance to neutral in tomorrow's policy meeting. Ritu brings us the key findings of the CNBC-TV18 poll.
Steep rate cuts by major central banks, rising geopolitical tensions and a revamped MPC. It is going to be an interesting backdrop to this policy meeting. Now, we first asked respondents if the recent rate cuts by the US Fed in China are going to influence the MPC's decision, and a solid 80% said no, expecting the RBI to stay focused on domestic factors. As for the RBI governor's tone, 40% are expecting a dovish tilt, but the majority, 60%, still says the tone will be absolutely even, with no clear signal of a policy pivot just yet. What also makes this particular policy more exciting is that it is probably the first meeting of the MPC this year where at least a part of the financial markets are expecting a change in stance, and a very small number even a rate cut. Now, half the respondents are expecting the MPC to shift the stance to neutral in October, while 30% expect it to be retained at withdrawal of accommodation. As for the timing of the stance change, while 50% say it will happen now, the rest of them are forecasting a shift only by December or perhaps even later. On rate cuts, 10% are expecting a 25 basis point cut this time around, but the larger majority sees a status quo because they say the MPC will remain cautious because of food inflation risks. Now, most economists believe the window for a rate cut will open only by December or perhaps even later. On the total quantum of cuts in this entire cycle, 50% see room for a 50 basis point cut, while the remainder are divided between 60 to 100 basis points. Inflation is expected to dominate the governor's address, with 80% saying that the CPI forecast is likely to be left unchanged at 4.5%, although 20% do foresee a slight cut as inflation in the second quarter is expected to marginally undershoot RBI's own estimate. On growth, the economists are pretty split. Half are expecting the forecast to be left unchanged at 7.2%, while the rest expect a downward revision pointing to weaker momentum in the key economic indicators. And lastly, this is the debut meeting for the three new recently appointed external MPC members, Professor Ram Singh, Saugata Bhattacharya and Dr. Nagesh Kumar. And 40% of our respondents believe that the new members are more likely to lean towards maintaining status quo, although some are of the view that there could be one dissenting vote, which should come from Saugata Bhattacharya, citing his recent paper in August making a case for a rate cut. But of course, we'll have to see how the views have evolved since then.
Ritu, thanks a lot for that. Time for a short break. Up next, we get you all the details of the Central Consumer Protection Authority issuing a show cause notice to Ola Electric. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18. Let's move on. And sources are telling CNBC-TV18 that LIC has reduced its first-year commissions and bonuses following the implementation of higher surrender values for its policies. Yash is joining in with us to tell us more details on this. Yash, take it away.
Vinny, of course, we've been speaking about it and the implementation of that higher surrender value to be paid by life insurance companies to the policyholders in case of early surrenders kick-started from the 1st of October. Since then, a lot of life insurance companies have been largely looking at their commission structures, restructuring them to sort of be able to absorb the extra surrender value that they would have to pay. A large portion of private life insurance companies have, gone towards deferred commissions, which means paying a part of commission in the first year, and as renewals start coming in, keep paying it for the next 2 years. LIC has taken a very different strategy as far as coping up with higher surrender value is concerned. What we've been given to understand is that they've reduced the first year commissions from 25% to about 20%. The bonus has also been reduced from 10% to 8%, which means the total commission, which is bonus plus standalone commission, has been reduced to 28% from 35%. This will certainly help LIC to absorb the higher surrender value in case it comes in. But there is a section of investors which are fearing that it might hit the top line if their agents, which are the largest distributors, do not realize a higher commission in the first year itself. Now, to make up for this reduction in the commission in the first year itself, what LIC has done is they've increased the renewal commission to 7.5% from 5% earlier. So it transpires to the same model, but the first year commissions have been reduced for agents. They've also increased prices of certain products, again to deal with the higher surrender value regulation. So that is the strategy. The street seems to be worried, a section of the street seems to be worried that it might hit the top line, but in a long term it seems to be beneficial for their margins going ahead.
Yes, thanks a lot for that. 1.5% higher LIC, just around its IPO price of around 949 is LIC. Moving on then, the Central Consumer Protection Authority has issued a show cause notice to Ola Electric following a wave of over 10,000 complaints received on the National Consumer Helpline. We reported about this yesterday. First up, before the company confirmation, Shivani is joining in to tell us more on this.
Well, yes, sources suggest that Ola Electric is currently under intense scrutiny by the Central Consumer Protection Authority, the CCPA, after receiving around 10,000 complaints from customers on National Consumer Helpline. Now, these complaints primarily center on delayed services, unresolved refund issues, and overall deficiencies in the company's after-sales service. The growing volume of these grievances has prompted the CCPA to intervene, signaling potential widespread dissatisfaction with the company's customer support practices. In response to this, the CCPA has issued a formal show cause notice to Ola Electric, initiating a probe into alleged service deficiencies and examining whether the company's practices amount to unfair trade practices and violation of the consumer rights. Specific concerns raised include significant delays in providing repair or maintenance services, as well as long waiting times for processing of refunds, leading to frustration among customers. The CCPA's investigation also aims to intervene and determine whether the company has systematically failed to meet the expectations laid out in the consumer protection laws. Ola Electric has been granted a total of 15 days from the 3rd of October to respond to the show cause notice and provide a comprehensive explanation of the issues raised by the CCPA. The company acknowledged receipt of the notice late last night and has committed to submitting a formal response within the given time frame. In its initial statements, Ola Electric pledged to cooperate fully with the CCPA's inquiry and stressed its commitment to complying with the regulatory and consumer protection obligations. The company stated it takes consumer grievances seriously and intends to work towards resolving the service delays and refund issues highlighted by the customers.
Thanks so much for that. But let's, on that note, slip into a very short break. Up after the break, Samsung India has reached an agreement overnight to end the monthly-long workers' strike. So we'll tell you more about that after the break.
Welcome back. After nearly a month of protests at Samsung India's plant in Sriperumbudur near Chennai, a section of employees on strike could return to work. The late hours of Monday saw Samsung India and an unnamed worker committee reach an agreement where the company has agreed to a wage hike and other employee benefits. CNBC-TV18's Jude Sanith joins us with the latest.
Well, the latest from the ground is that a section of employees working at Samsung India Electronics Sriperumbudur plant, who have been on strike since the 10th of September, has decided to return to work. The decision comes after an agreement inked between Samsung India Electronics and an unnamed workmen committee at the company has decided to put differences aside, even as Samsung has extended a much demanded wage hike to these employees that will return to work. The Samsung statement also says it has extended other benefits like cash rewards, meal allowances, a life insurance policy and paternity benefits to employees who choose to return to work. Incidentally, the wage hike that Samsung's agreement mentions is about 5,000 rupees per employee per month that Samsung says will be worked its way into its increments that it extends to its employees from FY26 onwards. In fact, in a statement, Samsung says Samsung India today signed a memorandum of agreement with the workmen committee of its Chennai factory. Both parties agreed on collaborative efforts to make the Chennai factory a great place to work. We will engage with workmen directly to address the difficulties faced by them. We will also work with them for the development of the community in Chennai as a responsible company, end quote. Incidentally, the agreement makes no mention of recognizing the Samsung India Workers Union, which called for the strike in the first place. It has also not acceded to the demand of increasing the average wage from 25,000 rupees per month to 36,000 rupees per month. And that is why a larger section of the employees backed by the Centre of Trade Unions, which called for the strike, continues to remain on strike. But the fact is, there is a smaller section, we can't quite confirm how many employees, has decided to return to work, thereby calling off their strike at Samsung's Sriperumbudur plant.
Thank you so much for that. But that's all the time we have on this edition of Business Lunch. Thanks so much for tuning in. Up next, Midcap Radar.